two, one. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting film journey here on Inside Movies Galore. I am one of your hosts, but today is an exciting night. We are going on about a film that our good friend Brandon and our good friend Evan have brought to the table. Uh, and I guess our RIP to our fellow actor who has passed away in this film. So, Brandon, why don't you uh, tell us what movie this is? And
So this is the 2017 film Park by Evan Jacobs under the Anhedenia Films group. And this is one of those films that has an interesting history for me, but this is more of a dedication. I figured I would use my birthday pick at the end of the month to kind of do a dedication to an actor that has passed way too soon, especially with considering a lot of the talent from being a preacher, taking on evil toilets, to doing many other things. Even I think playing a deranged killer, even, and one of the few movies that was by you that actually creeped me out a little. So some amazing range in that, and so I'm glad to bring this forward. I think this is our second Anhedenia film that we brought on the channel, with Schusterman Levina being the other. So why don't I go to a couple of first ones, and then I'll end with the director that we have here, because he can then tell us why this was the film that he felt stuck out the most when referencing this actor. So we'll start with you, Jake. Have you seen this film before?
No, this was definitely a first. I have seen the Death Toilet movies, so I had seen some of Isaac's work before, and of course I was on the talk for Schusterman Levine, and just last night I checked out The Haymaker, so I've seen a few of Evan's films, and it's some interesting stuff there. And I will say, just on first impressions, this one probably did impress me a little more as a film than a couple of the others did. I still think Schusterman might be my favorite all around as a film, but this one had some good stuff going in it, and I'm not going to say there were a whole lot of scenes or moments that I memorized on first watch. Probably not, but it was a good first impression of it. I'll say that.
All right. How about you, Dave?
well, I am not a stranger to Evan Jacobs films, but nor have I watched every single one. I had originally planned on it, but then life got in the way. But I'm glad that this film was brought up, because then I could actually watch it and kind of analyze it in my mind. And so seeing it for the first time, it's actually not that bad. I mean, it was done a couple of years ago now, pre-pandemic. So you got to understand that. And I think and feel that I've seen enough of you two as characters to realize that you kind of directed behind and acted with him through quite a few features. So I can tell that you guys are comfortable around each other. I can tell you were, in a sense, like putting him in the director's chair for a moment. So it was like you were being the annoying cameraman. But I can see how camaraderie was a thing between you two, and he didn't mind it at all. So, and not too bad on the effects, because I've seen worse. So it was an entertaining film, and for some reason, I will enjoy the giant penguin for some reason.
Well, when that scene happened with the giant penguin, we were in the middle of that field where we also had shot later. Brandon figured that out, that we'd also shot something else there, and that was part of Death Toilet 4. That park, it's called Irvine Park in Orange County, California. It whatchamacallit, it was the land of the lost toilet in Death Toilet 4. But when I was doing that in park, at the end of the movie, he's being attacked, but there's nothing attacking him, obviously. He's just acting like there is. People didn't know what we were doing. Some guy ran up and was going to offering. He thought Isaac got, and he offered him EpiPen. And so yeah,
Was that?
But that's Isaac. Isaac would just get so into it that like honestly, he could be at times very what's the word? Strong coffee is the word, and I like strong coffee. He just when he was right, and when he was like in his Isaac zone, there are very few people in the world I wanted to be around more, because he was just that kind of person.
Well, so Dave, were you finished with your first impression?
No, I think so. I mean, it was kind of an interesting situation. It went from kidnapping to a walk in the park, but not exactly that far from the Twilight Zone. So, but
thank you. That's a compliment.
But yeah, I enjoyed it, and though I can understand why some people might not enjoy it, I enjoy it. So I'm glad that I was able to watch it. So,
well, just real quick, I'll throw out my introduction was thanks to Dave, actually, of not the park, but Anhedenia Filmz, because he was showing off his Death Toilet copies. And as most people who know me know, I like a movie with a very strange premise. And
Indeed.
Death Toilet was right down my alley. So then he said, oh yeah, and he might be willing to let you watch some more of his stuff if you are willing to do some reviews. I was like, okay. So I contacted and managed to get like a free month on that Anhedenia Vimeo page, which of course is linked below in the description. Only $2 a month for lots of films, lots and lots of films,
and more are coming.
And I watched all of them within a month.
I am bowing to you. I think I should do that. So thank.
And I did a video on every single one.
Yes.
So,
He did more than I could do at that point in time, and that's why I handed the watching of the films off to him for a little bit.
but
Oh, so that's how this started. So that is how this started. I love it.
and though it wasn't my first film I watched, my first film for Anhedenia had been watching a movie.
You know, I gotta be honest, Brandon. I'm curious to see what you think of Care Killer. I just think that might be something you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's on my lineup to watch, definitely.
I mean, I'd like to see it, but just given Brandon's line of work, I think he'll tell me if I got it right or not.
Well, as he knows from watching what I've done, the Anhedenia project, I don't hold my punches.
No, I love it. I love it.
But this is one of the first films that I came to because it was usually for me, it was a hit or a miss. I never came to a film that I was conflicted about until I got to the park. Because to me, the first part of the park was a major hit. And it held my attention throughout the whole time, and I was very interested in what was going on. And then the last part was such a what the heck is going on that it just made me go, okay, I'm out of it now. And
he brought Stranger Things to the table. That's what he did.
Guys, I say it's Clerks meets Jurassic Park.
I was thinking like this is like your version of Jurassic Park, because you got like a stream of raptors going off in one direction, and you had a dinosaur in the very beginning.
Well, that's the thing about this movie is that one of the last meals that Isaac and I had together, which was a few weeks before he passed away, was about the sequel, and we were going to shoot it this summer, and it was whatchamacallit, it was going to be like it was going to pick up with us leaving the park, and then we were going to part ways. He was going to go home, and then it was going to kind of become like an American Werewolf in London, where he was going to turn into a dinosaur, and then he had a scooter, and then there was going to be like a shark on a scooter coming after his. Like we had we had all these ideas, and we were just so excited about it. And like, there's two things. I still have like 3, 4, maybe even 5 movies that I need to edit that I shot with Isaac. And then Isaac had shot a movie that I might finish for him. It was he was having all these crazy computer problems and couldn't get it done. And I just never understood that, because you'd be like, oh, my computer crashed. And I would just sit there and think, it's 2023. Like, even if it crashed, that shouldn't be the end of the movie.
Right. I mean, the computer crashed twice, and I'm still using it.
Right. Yeah. And so, but with Isaac, how do I put this? I didn't want to ask too many questions about stuff like that. And you guys got to realize we were best friends, and we are. I don't know. I have a hard time with the word, so I'm just going to say are. And we would like give each other endless grief about everything. But I always sort of stayed away from the computer crashing, and actually tried to help steer him in the direction of, oh, hey, how can we fix it this way? Can we do this? Just because I just know that from making films, that's just a nightmare. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to kick the guy while I'm not going to give him, let's get this figured out. So hopefully the movie that he directed, which is really
I know they say just pick up a camera and start filming, and you'll get something done. But nobody knows what goes into the behind the scenes of how to put together a film.
Well, I am a good
Especially
example
if you have a lot to edit.
Well, I'm a very good example of pick up a camera and you'll get something. Sometimes it's going to be good. Sometimes it's going to be, it would be on it would be on Brandon's list of movies not to watch, physical or a stream.
Or it'll be one of those movies that he loves, and everyone else is like, okay, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. No, yes. That is, but that's the one thing is that Brandon will, email me and say like, hey, I was a little bit harsh. I hope that's okay. And I'm like I'm never going to be one of those people that, I only want the good reviews. I don't care about any of that. To me, it's,
Right.
I made it. It's out there. This is like, this right now is like this talk that we're doing. This is just such a gift to me that people even cared enough to do this. So, thank you guys.
Not a problem. Hey, if you can believe it, you're talking about just to back up a minute. If you think the idea of a were dinosaur is outlandish, we've actually covered a movie on this channel about that.
Wait, about a what kind of dinosaur?
A were dinosaur. Like we covered the Velocipaster, which was actually one of the few films everyone on the show loved.
Yeah, make sure it turns into a dinosaur.
I knew we were on this. I knew we were on to that. I knew we were on something, and yeah. Well, hopefully, there is a film that he and I made after kind of having a beef. Like I was, it's about as upset at him as I've ever been. And then the beef kind of got squashed, and I made a movie about him and I confronting each other and talking about it. And I plan to release that. That will only be streaming. That does not need a physical release. But it's like, yeah, it is just funny. But I love that you guys covered that movie, and now I want to say I know about the movie you're talking about. Now I want to see it.
Oh yes, it was excellent.
And to say the park, I definitely liked it better the second time around I watched it. Because my first impression of it was I felt like the special effects were just thrown in there, but I could see them working now more than I did. I do think that a sequel would definitely improve my outlook on this one, just because I still feel like the end bothers me, but because I really thought the setup was amazing. And
Thank you.
Like I say, it's one of the few films that I am kind of conflicted over, because most of them have been
kind
either
of the opposite
because
I'm kind of the opposite because I like when things go weird, and he took it weird. I mean,
I do too.
Why not have a giant penguin walk out from nowhere? Why not have some random raptors running through a park?
What about the
why
skeleton?
Not have the mirror of oneself show up in front of someone, and kind of in a sense, it's kind of like a time traveling thing too going on, because he zapping himself or some shit like that. I saw that. So
guys, everybody, when I told them what I was doing, when I said, hey, there's two Isaacs in the movie, like I'd have people come over as I was editing it, and they would like fun of me, like, oh, that's gonna look great. And then they saw it, and none of them, and it's a very in Final Cut Pro and LumaFusion, they were so impressed that I got Isaac, like, for there to be two Isaacs. So I just I will say, it, this is one of my favorite films. This is one of my favorite films. I love what you're all saying. Some of you guys are like on board, and some of you guys are like, "Why did you have to do that?"
It was like March of the Penguins meets Jason and the Argonauts at one point in
Oh
time.
no,
So.
the penguin appearance I was entertained by, very much so. But I was
Are
curious.
always fun.
Because of course Isaac had a lot of really amazing acting jobs. Of course, my favorite one that I've seen, I've made no bones about, is DV2, where his performance was actually chilling for me. And I've watched so much horror these days. I'm not as desensitized as, say, Dave, who can watch Sallow and enjoy it. But
I didn't enjoy it. It's just it doesn't bother me. It doesn't like make my skin crawl like it does other people.
But I will say, oh shoot. But DV for me was like such an amazing performance. But what was it that you felt like made this the performance that you felt like should represent Isaac?
Because if anyone that knew Isaac, like he was, when he was in a good mood, and even when he was in a, he could be such a fun person to hang out with. I'm going to tell you guys a quick story. He and I would go and eat a lot, and a lot of times they would just be fast food meals. And he one day texted me after years of doing this, "Look, man, my body can't handle doing that anymore. Just, I feel terrible after I do it. Let's step it up for our next meal." So he came over, and he was like really dressed up, like literally, like he's wearing like a parka and a pancake hat. And I'm sitting there thinking, dude, you're going with me, like, dude. So anyway, we went to BJ's, and it was a Sunday. And on the way over, I said, "Hey, man, what are we gonna do if there's a line?" And he goes, "We're gonna be adults and we're gonna wait." Okay, fine. So we get there and we're waiting, and I just started. It's a terrible wait. I could tell he's getting mad, and so like he wouldn't even stand next to me. I started taking pictures of him and sending it to him just to make him even madder. Then we sit down, order, and then the power goes out. And driving back, like we're then driving around looking for a place to eat, and I'm letting him have it the whole time. And why I feel what makes it so special to me is so much of Isaac's personality. I don't know that he would necessarily agree with this, but a lot of personality to me is in that movie. And I just not the guy you see in the movie The Form. Certain guy you see too. He's a lot of the guy that you see in the Bro Down. Yeah. But it's me, it's him, and that's why I'm so glad that we're talking. That's also why I'm just glad that it's on TV, because Isaac's singing for a few bands. The biggest was a band called A Chorus of Disapproval, and they're like a very revered band in Orange County hardcore punk scene, and they're all revered in Europe, on the East Coast, here, and I would love for people, because for Isaac, I know that it kind of bothered him that as far as what he did was always the biggest thing. He tried to do band. None of them ever really was big. He was into hip hop. He tried to do a rap thing. It just, the good of, and I'm just so happy that the part, so that people that know him as the singer of that band can see the part like, oh wow, this guy singing these songs with these lyrics that sound all tough, and this guy is, there's more to him than that. And I think like what we're doing now helps that. So thank you guys again.
Well, I guess we can get started into discussing the film in general. Of course, the film is it's the two of you, where you're filming as the camera guy, and he's the director. I guess directing a student film, I'm guessing, is what it was, because y'all mentioned student film a lot, and you happened to come across the film of this USB stick that's kind of taped to a wall, which of course there's a lot of those things online. It's like, you don't go, if you see a USB key like in a brick wall or something, don't go to it or something. And then it leads into a whole bit of paranoia marked with a potential chase and abduction, leading up with meeting in the park. And that's really the first part of this. It's really a two-part film, in my opinion. The first part being that whole part of getting the thing on film and then getting in trouble with some sort of mob or something that has kidnapped them. So what did y'all think?
The film that these two are trying to make has a deadline too.
Yes.
We just don't know that deadline.
And so does
What you were saying?
and so does the kidnapping. But at the so what did y'all think as far as the characters of the director and the cameraman in this? What are y'all's thoughts on these characters?
Well, I did enjoy the fact that when he was trying to tell him his to go and pan right, he went the opposite right that he was expecting. He wanted him to go his right.
Right.
And I believe this is part of the same whole sequence that you were saying. I love the whole back and forth of the gun bit when they're sitting at his place. And,
I love the duct tape gun. I thought that was great. Duct tape on the gun.
What about you, Jake?
Well, I know that was a little bit into it, where they were back there looking for a weapon, and he went and grabbed a hammer first, and I'm like, yeah. I'm like, the hammer's not necessarily a bad thing to have, but yeah. But yeah, I thought the back and forth between the two was pretty cool. There were times where I really was wondering if the cameraman was being too literal, panning right when he obviously was supposed to follow the director's right, or at least I would say it would be pretty obvious. But if he was
so were you being too literal,
or intentionally doing so, or just accidentally, I guess you could say. Either way, it was amusing.
I think it was a little bit on purpose.
So what do you say about your character as the cameraman? Was he doing it wrong on purpose?
Oh, I mean, Okay, I mean, me personally, I was as the cameraman. I was trying to. There's a movie with Harrison Ford and Christian Slater, and I was trying to channel whatchamacallit. I was trying to channel the Christian Slater character, but I'm forgetting the name of it. And it was no, it wasn't Harrison Ford and Christian Slater. It was Christian Slater and Joe Pesci.
Huh.
And I was more like I really my character. I was trying to be very erstwhile and do my job, but at the same time, in my mind as the actor, I'm like, say this. If you say this, you will upset him. And so that was all I wanted to do. And I just told him, I said, you are just put upon. Everything I say bothers you. And yeah. So I guess as a cameraman, yes, I was doing that.
One thing I thought that was particularly that caught it caught me the second time around is when he used the R word, and I was like, no, Evan Jacobs would never use that in his films. But then, sure enough, you came right back afterwards, like that's not appropriate to use.
No, and if you see him in that scene, he gets flustered because he knows he shouldn't have done that, but we're already too into it. Like it's just gotta play itself out.
So that was like a moment that I was like, oh my gosh, he went there. I didn't think he was going to go. Was going to use that. I'm guessing that was improv, or was that written in the script?
Oh, that whole thing was just an outline. That literally was an outline, and it was like, hey, I'm going to say this. You're going to say that. And we just went that way. Hold on, I'm gonna get a drink of water.
Yeah, that whole thing was interesting. What about? So, what did you think about the director, Dave? What are your thoughts on him?
I think you just lost Dave there.
Oh, sent you there.
And Evan, I think you're talking Jimmy Hollywood. That seems to be the one that has the two of them.
No, 100%. Thank you. Now, did you look that up, or did you know?
Yeah, I've never seen it, but it looks fun. But anyway,
I think you guys would love that movie. It's a movie about making movies.
Right. Those can be fun.
One of these days, I really want to get into some of the earlier films. Well, we did cover one, which would be I'd love to get into one of the trilogy, Walking Between Raindrops, for instance, as one of the big ones, because a lot of Kevin Smith, a lot of Woody Allen influences there. I think really watching that film alone was the main reason why I said, okay, I'm just going to go through and I'm going to hit all of this because I know there's some gems in here. But yeah, you were saying about all that being kind of outlined and then going at it. And there's just quite a chemistry you have between the two of y'all.
Well, that was just it. I think I kind of got too into that, and there were times I just wanted to have him like I would want to make anything that we were doing a movie. Like we went up to over by Magic Mountain in Southern California to shoot a video for his rap thing, and I wanted to make a movie as we were driving, just because in my mind, rightly or wrongly, that chemistry would be there. And he was always up for whatever I wanted to do for the most part. But I noticed it whatchamacallit, like it would take longer and longer in between films, and I never really knew what that was about, just because to me
Got cut off there.
but at the same time, I also think maybe I wasn't as cognizant of the oh gosh, I wasn't cognizant to, hey, maybe, you know, acting and maybe being that person took something out of him each time that he was, you know, that it took a lot out of him, and maybe he didn't want to, you know, maybe he didn't want to be seen in that way. So yeah.
Well, I'd say those were impressive performances, all what I saw given. And I really liked the kind of paranoia that he exhibited driving along there. So did you get the inspiration, of course, for the USB drive in the wall from a lot of those news stories or those pictures they show with one of them embedded in the wall, stuff like that?
Dude, until you said that tonight, I didn't know that that was a thing. What happened was I was somewhere with my godson Sean, and there was like these cameras, and I just bought one, and I don't know if it ever worked, but I needed to mount a camera to the wall, because how the part came about was when we were shooting DB2, it was next to that, there's like that decrepit house in the movie. Right next to that is a building. It was called the Exbon building, EXBON. And we were always like, what's going on in there? What's happening in there? And then I came up with this idea like, hey, what if as we were shooting DV2, like they were watching us and somehow they think that we saw something that we didn't see, blah, blah, blah. And so that is what sort of formed the part. So to answer your question, until you said it tonight, I had never heard of that. So now I want to know more about it.
I'm not the only one who's heard about that. How about you, Dave? Jake, have you seen? Know what I'm talking about?
Are you talking about when you see the shadow of a camera on the camera?
Well, like there's been these like stories online about these. Maybe I'm the only one who digs like that, but these stories online about people finding these USB sticks actually buried into or sealed into a brick wall, and they say never touch it because sometimes they use it for criminal acts. And that's what I thought that was about. So that I was.
And that could have then played into the sequel. You just gave me something that would have been amazing in the sequel, because, you know, they could have gone back and taken that camera, and who knows where it would have gone. And then amidst that, he's turning into a dinosaur, and there's a shark riding around on the scooter.
I sent a picture of what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's one of those things like these urban legends. Don't ever look into this because they could be drug dealers and stuff. So I thought like, oh yeah, this is one of those mob drop-off keys. And you showed the location of that key with the camera. So then they were all after you because of that. I mean, you know, they see where if you've got like where all their stuff was kept in a, I think of course people are going to be after. So that's so I was like I said, I was very intrigued about that. I love I love the whole driving thing, especially when he's sitting there and trying to pull off and is like, you know, race car driver. As he's looking at these people just going by, he's like, yes, I've thought that myself as I'm trying to go. And some dude in the 25-mile-an-hour zone is going like 60 right by you.
Well, you've got whatchamacallit, you have hit me to something that I did not know about, similar to how a student hit me to the back rooms, which now we're doing that film about. So, Brandon, thank you very, very much for that, because I'm going to use this in something. I don't know what, but I'm going to use this.
Inspiration strikes in the weirdest, most random places sometimes.
You can say that again.
Yeah, so it was a very I mean, so I have had the pleasure of driving in LA. Maybe not the pleasure. But I would say as far as I could see the frustration of not just having to work that, but having to deal with the traffic in and of itself, or Orange County for that matter, because my guess is that the traffic isn't much better with it, LA being as close as it is.
County's gotten a lot more crowded, especially at like certain times of the day. Like there's times of the day you can zip in and out. Literally, there's no one on the freeway. But then there's some times where it's just insane, and it'll, somewhere that may take me 15 minutes to get to, it takes me an hour, and so yeah.
Which means a lot of preparing ahead of time before you even go anywhere.
100%.
I actually, the traffic would be a major concern for me anywhere. I was one of the, I had a job interview once that would have put me about an hour outside of DC, and I was like, too close. But it was, even here, like in Richmond, I avoid the downtown expressway like the plague, because I don't know what it is, but when people get on that road, they lose their minds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dustin has said he's trying to get the movie watched so he can try and hop on quickly towards the end. But yeah, he made the comment that the penguin was an inspired touch.
Yes, indeed.
Guys, come on. Who doesn't love a big penguin? Who doesn't love a large penguin just running around randomly in the middle of the woods,
giving a salute?
It's like your version of the rabbit going through Wonderland as saying, I'm late for a very important date, But
well, he has two lines in that movie. He has two lines in that, or he has more than that, but there's two that stick out to me. There's when I thank him for buying me lunch, which I think was just cookies. And he just doesn't miss a beat. All he says is, it's a write-off. Like, not you're welcome, but just, it's a write-off. And I'm thinking I'm thinking that's just, what makes me laugh about that is it's cookies. They're like 99 cents. And the other thing that he says is like, we're driving and he's all, oh, look, there's a dog. What about its eyes? Like does that dog, I forget what he says. And then he says something. And you can tell this is where Isaac came out, because he says something and he goes, no, that doesn't make any sense at all. And I'm like, he's talking to himself.
It's that something about the dog having camera in its eyes or something.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
So the second half of this film is essentially this kind of weird kind of fever dream park section. And I'll admit, after seeing Death Toilet 4, I felt like a lot of callbacks from the Toilet verse. I wouldn't even be surprised if the two aren't connected in some way, even if it's just in location.
Well, that would be amazing to somehow connect the land of the lost with the park and see, oh, whoa, Septum, that would have been amazing.
So you need to do like the entire thing, like the Askew-verse, and just to have them all loosely connected in some way or another.
Well, I'm working on the script right now for Insect 2, and Isaac was come back and do the voice of Dawn, the brother, but now obviously he can't, unfortunately. So my plan is, because his son did the voice of Angus in that movie, and my plan is I think I'm going to have his son do his dad's part, and then just get cast someone to do the Angus role. I need to talk to him about that, but like that's the one thing, and I'm sure that you guys have all experienced this, but when he passed away, the people that I heard from, it literally reminded me of when my parents passed away. And it was just such a, like, guys, I do a social media post every day. I'm always posting something and I'm always making these movies, but I didn't really consider, and this was like, I don't know, maybe naive of me. I didn't consider how people kind of looked at Isaac and I as a team for that stuff. I don't know why. I didn't look at it that way. So when people started kidding me, how like when this stuff happens, there's like the stages of grief. That was the first thing to hit me was, oh wow, this changes everything now. And I'm not gonna lie, and I don't mean to get too serious on this thing, but I don't think I've even begun processing any part of what happened. I know what happened. I helped his son clean out Isaac's things from the place where he was living. I just spoke to his wife today. She got a tattoo with his name on her stomach. But I don't think I have come close to any of the stages of grief. So,
and you may never entirely go through them. I know some people just put grief on hold because you just can't deal with it,
Right.
So
right. No, that's a great point, David. It's a great point.
But I'm sorry that he passed, and out of it, as a filmmaker, you can move on to broader horizons, and
I certainly do look forward to seeing those things that were still in the works. I mean, Death Toilet 5, for instance, that's that is going to be so much fun to watch when it is.
Well, and I'm excited for Mike, the Brett Baxter character, because he directed that with his wife, directed that, and I'm excited for him because Mike really made the movie that he wanted to make, and he did an excellent job with it, and I give Mike a lot of credit because he will not cut corners, whereas I am always looking for ways to cut corners. And thank you for saying that, guys. And also, I hope that you like Death Toilet 5, and maybe part of what has helped me through this, or maybe what's sort of stunting my grieving process, is the fact that I have like 4 or 5 things left to edit with Isaac that still kind of make me feel like, well, I still have him with me.
Makes sense.
So
I will say for my part that I had mixed feelings about the first 3 Death Toilet movies, but I really thought that the fourth one was actually pretty funny. I feel like you've probably gotten into a groove with those, and so if it continues in that direction, then the 5th one could be quite enjoyable.
The fifth one is a bigger story, and it's bigger in every bigger sets, bigger, more characters. Just it's the okay. Here's the thing. I directed the first four, and I just felt that I was reaching a point where the movies were becoming toilet killing. Bax comes in with Father D, battles, and at the very end, you know, it looks like things are lost, and then they beat the toilet, or do they beat the toilet? And I think Mike has taken it to a place where what I think his ultimate vision for this thing is like he like you guys remember the Batman from like the 70s, like the TV Batman?
Yep.
I think that's kind of what he's hoping to do. Have like, you know, almost like Marvel and DC, have like bad guys. Like right now we have Potty Mouth, but I know that there's more in the offing. And I don't want to say too much just because Mike I don't know. I get in trouble sometimes. We'll talk about things, and I'll think that I can talk about them with people, and then he's like, "Hey, don't tell anyone that." So I'm like, "Okay, great." But if it's going, and that's why, like, I'm just like, "Hey, tell me what to do." You know, Mike and his wife, they've been so great with me doing things that I've asked them to do. I'm like, "Hey, what can I do?" You know, what, you know, in the movie that, you know, that you want me to do.
So, what was the inspiration that I could understand the kind of the dinosaurs, of course, but what was the inspiration behind adding the skeletons and, of course, the penguin?
Well, two things. Number one, I had gotten I'd gotten this pack of effects, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this doesn't look that bad." And so, of course, got to throw everything in there. And then number two, it's like anything else. You're doing it, and it was making me laugh. And I'm like, "Well, it's making me laugh. It might make someone else laugh." And if, you know, and it's
Right.
to me, it was like, let's get absurd. Like if we're in this thing where these film school guys got videoed, and, you know, all this stuff, and now they're in trouble, and there's a ransom thing, like, you know, the easy thing would have been to turn this into Beverly Hills Cop, and there's a shootout at the park, and they get the guy's wife back. But to me, it's a lot more interesting to wait a minute. There's this park with and by the way, how about Roy Engelbrecht, who also plays Mayor Dump in Medieval Death Toilet, and then reappears in Death Toilet 5 as Mayor Dump. He, at the very end of the movie, he's just kind of watching a screen and goes, "Very good." Guys, to me, it really was. This is absurd. Go with it, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, to me, so much of the movie works that I think that you can't really get too hung up on those effects. But I do understand where you guys are coming from, in the sense of, hey, it started off so great, and then you just drop the ball. I totally get it.
Well, and again, I think that to me, I'm probably one of the only ones who had made issue with the ending. But to me, I think that having a sequel or having something else to drop in some story beats for me would make this a better feel for me. It's not quite like I felt say Don't Get Out, where I felt it was too reliant on the effects. It's just it definitely took me off guard in a way that I normally don't get taken off guard. But I would be curious. But I will say this: if you do anything to follow up this movie, the Penguin has to return.
Right.
I think I agree. Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Oh, but Dustin, you're here just in time. We're here, of course, with Evan Jacobs, the
Right.
director of the park. But Dustin, was this your first time seeing the park?
I think so, probably, yeah. I had never heard of this at all before, so I had no clue what we were in for at all. I think my Letterboxd review just says what? Because I'm pretty kind of lost. Like
Mission accomplished.
that generally doesn't happen to me. So like, did they die? Were they on drugs? Like, was this in their heads? Like, what? You got me. I'm just gonna say you got me.
You know, I think it's like anything. Maybe now I have a question. At what point did you get lost? Were you lost through the whole thing, or was it like when they got to the park? Did you get lost, or
did you get distracted by the penguin?
Oh, the penguin was pretty hard to miss. For me, it was. It felt like the first like full-on half of it was just them going around. It's like, okay, we're trying to shoot a thing. What is the thing? We don't know what the thing is, but we're just trying to film something. And I was like, okay, so this is like a found footage of film and found footage. Okay, that's what this seems to be. And I was kind of unsure how to feel about it. And then it's like, my wife has been kidnapped. And with the bloodstains and stuff in that little clip, I was like, wait, what? And so I was like, okay, I'm being faked out in some way. And then they get to the park and they just start hallucinating was my best guess. And so that was kind of... So about the halfway point is where I was kind of caught off guard, and then like when the penguin shows up, it's okay. What's happening here? It's like this is hard to evaluate like as a film, like the way I usually evaluate like a movie, just because I'm gonna quote a line from like the Darth Maul novel from like 2001. It was like encountering a surface so slick one could find no purchase on it. That makes sense.
You know what? If the park can in any way be equated with a Darth Maul novel, I think I'm in good shape. So I am honored. I am honored.
Darth Maul Shadowhunter. Check it out, folks. It's honestly better than most of the stuff we've gotten lately.
And Dustin, the person who had the person that's in honor of is the guy who played the director who had passed last month. So
I did not know
one of the
that.
main reasons why I wanted to make sure I wanted to put something in the honor of the person. So I just wanted to let you know ahead of time.
I feel kind of sad now. But no. Yeah.
Oh no, dude. The fact that you took the time and watched the movie, he would have been stoked. Like he would have been so happy just because I was telling these guys, one of the things that him passing away really made me sad about was him being kind of deprived of a third act. He did a band when he was younger that was very, very popular. And then after that, he still did music and stuff like that. Nothing was ever as big as that. And then with like the movie stuff, I was always excited because I thought he was really good at it. And by that, I meant he was good at acting. He was good at writing. He was good at directing. He was good at making props. Like he was amazing at making props. And I always was like, if he really worked hard, he could be a prop guy, like really a good prop guy. So anyway, the fact that you guys are doing this and talking about him, and none of you know anything about his music. And not like you would have cared if you did. I just think wherever he is, he's happy because no matter how you feel about the movie, like it or hate it, I'll be honest, I don't even know how much he likes the movie, but but it's the kind of thing that when I was at the memorial for him, all I kept thinking about in my head was, I'm so glad that I made all the movies that I made with him, because now people can see him, and some people might only come to him through the films. Some people might only come to him through his music. Some people might only come to him through whatever else he did. So don't feel, I mean, thank you for, feeling sad, all that stuff. But I'm saying certainly don't let that tame your opinion of the movie, if you know what I mean. The Darth Maul quote still stands.
So did he have anything? I think we've really gone over what we can about the special effects, other than like some brief things like say the gun, which I kind of liked that the effect with the gun being taped like that. Obviously, it was a toy gun that had like black tape on it to make it look like a real gun. But I just I don't know why that cracked me up when I saw that. Probably not something that would normally, but it just did. I love seeing odd workarounds like that.
Hits the vibe.
And
guys, if you guys want more Penguin, we got to have more Tugboat in the movie too. Come on, the guy that sold him the gun.
Yes, I did like him. I'm glad that you mentioned him, because I would have felt bad not mentioning the guy. He had such a nice little manic monologue there about the gun safety. I kind of felt like, it was, okay, everybody in the audience, make sure you understand all about gun safety. No, don't do this. But I thought that was a fun performance.
Little bit of trivia. He's the guy. This is a spoiler if any of you were going to see this, but he's the guy who killed me at the end of Angela's Home movie.
Oh, okay. So he was the one who, which I've seen a number of times because I've been trying to get it to work on this disc I'm making. But as far as actually, what's funny is I thought for a moment that you had used Popeye, that you had gotten him to come on as a double for for Isaac when playing the other guy from far away.
Oh, which guy? Which
the actual Isaac double making the flames and the thing, but that was just an effect with him, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was all just done. That was all Isaac effect in Final Cut Pro. But I'm just like, as someone who has, as you guys know, very janky effects, I was like, wow, that actually kind of looks okay.
Yeah, I was actually surprised. That actually surprised me that it was you using effects to copy it. I didn't pick that out when I saw it the first time. I
think the best effect is actually those like random ass skeletons, because like I think I bought the most that they were actually there, and I don't know why. I can't explain it, but those kind of got me a little bit. It's just like, what? Oh, okay. And then the penguin, it's like, but of course.
I remember when I saw the penguins, and I was trying to get them to work kind of just in the scene, and I'm like, well, this doesn't exactly work or look that great, but come on, there's skeletons.
I did really appreciate it, so I felt it necessary to point that out.
What about music? Now, the music in this was pretty good, but when you do approach music for a lot of these, they are usually quite good. I remember watching, gosh, what was it I was just looking at? Because I was looking at I've been looking at a bunch of your films lately. Matter of fact, it seems like I've been looking at snippets of all of them lately. But I remember seeing something, and of course, I saw Sean's name as one of them from doing music on your films. But who is involved in the music for the park? Hello?
Evan, who did the music?
I'm so sorry. I started talking and didn't realize that I was muted. Thank you, Dustin, for because I got my attention. I was like, wait a minute. I'm obviously not. I think that was a mix of Sean and a mix of Isaac. I'll often tell Sean what I need. And then Sean will sometimes give me exactly what I need. And then there's times he'll give me exactly what I need, but then put something in there that I don't need. And then that's kind of like becomes like a joke. And then I literally have to say to him, hey, just send me it without, like, send me that pulsating sound without a bird chirping over it or something. So it's, yeah. As far as I remember, it was Sean. Isaac may have done a little bit in it too. He was always trying to get his music in the movies. And that's why, and I was always like, yeah, bring it on, because then I don't have to do it. It's one less thing that I have to do. He, in my opinion, of everything that he's ever done for me, his music makes the film Cool Summer. It makes it 100%.
Oh, so he did the music for Cool Summer.
Yeah.
Oh,
All that. I'm going to say, well, he did a lot of the, like all the stuff that there's no vocals. He did that. The stuff where there's vocals, that was my friend Jeff Banks. But what's interesting is Jeff and Isaac were in that band like 20 or 30 years ago.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of history in here that I feel like a lot of people are missing by not catching a lot of these films. But you see, this is why you all need to sign up for the Anhedenia.
$2 a month.
$2, so you can see them all.
$2 a month, 40 something film, 45, 40, 46 films. We got more coming. The price is never going to go up. It's not going to be. Now, I admit the content is maybe not at the level of a Disney Plus or a Netflix, but that is a level price. It's never going to go. And yeah, it's. I'm just saying. And I will say this: if people are like, I don't want to pay that, that's fine as well, because if you go to my YouTube channel, Anhedenia Films TV, there's way more content on there. It's just not the whole movies. It's like just little clips of the movies.
If anything, you can see the Butler's Parlor series.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, you can see the Butler's Parlor. Yes, thank you.
I was gonna say, have you seen a lot of the new stuff on Disney Plus? Low bar.
Yeah.
Low bar, the high price.
Now, guys, have you heard that there is going to be a apparently there's going to be an ad like a free version. Well, we have Warner Brothers TV that's coming, which I think is going to be following the model of Pluto TV, and then there's going to be like a free version of Disney Plus. Have any of you guys heard that or no?
That's new to
No.
me. I did hear Netflix was floating something about having a version that was slightly cheaper but with ads, and it's like,
I know Disney
Yeah,
Plus-
they are doing that. Netflix is doing, and it's also it's slightly cheaper, has ads, and doesn't have everything that regular Netflix has.
it's so stupid. Like, dear God.
Right.
Well, I mean, what's so interesting to me is it seems like 3 days ago streaming was, oh man, it's these places are cleaning up, they're just getting bigger and bigger. And then it seems like suddenly, to use the industry term that they all use, things matured, and now it's like, okay, apparently that whole time they weren't making money. It was all like to build the subscriber base, and then
Mhm.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
I'm sure
I think
that
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 oh, I was just going to
writers
say,
thing that's
um,
going on.
yeah, I was going to say another. I wonder if this could be a factor too, because it's caused a lot of chaos and destruction. Like federal interest rates went up by like 1%, and a lot of businesses, quote unquote businesses, operated within those margins. So I wonder if that would have like an effect on just the overall system of corporate profitability. Because I heard some good talks about that recently, and I wonder if it's related. Like, I don't know if anybody's actually looked at that as a possibility.
Well, I hope we get Evan back.
Mostly a tech company kind of thing, though.
But was there anything that anybody else wanted to say about the movie before we got into final thoughts, or I should say, into favorites?
Not that I know of.
I like the final kind of mind fuck sequence where they're in the park and we're just getting these random dinosaurs and just things that look like they were made with just After Effects on your phone.
Final Cut Pro.
And yeah, that's well, I enjoyed that part the most because I'm like, what is happening? And he's like shooting all lightning bolts, and it's and I'm just kind of sitting there like staring at the screen like never been so confused before. Like it was actually kind of fun, honestly. And then I really like the end credit music. I hope he comes back so I can ask him to send me that. Because I like that end credit theme.
And you can always.
Well, I know he was having some storms on his end.
Yeah. You can always send him like a friend request on Facebook or that. He's usually, as long as you're patient with him, he responds. And he's a good guy.
Yep.
So, which is why I wanted to do this. I didn't know Isaac very well, but I felt like something needed to be done because he's brought so many interesting performances. As far as one of these days we'll have to cover DV 2. So there he is. So
Sorry about that, guys.
We can see that because I definitely think, and I think even you, Dustin, would definitely appreciate that performance where the guy is talking about killing somebody, and they have that lighting effect that kind of puts that monster face over his face. It's still to this day I was surprised that a micro budget film like that could actually give me a small fright, which is not easy.
Was that DV2?
Yes.
DV6 is going to happen, and Isaac's character will return. And DV6, current title, breaking history, telling you guys this right now. DV6, AI or die.
You know what? I look forward to it because I have high expectations for the even numbered DV movies because it seems like the odd numbered ones are always setting up something, and then the even numbered ones always have some sort of major payoff that I like.
Something to knock it out.
Thank you for saying that, and I'm gonna say this: I am so bummed about DV5 because I had such high hopes, and I really thought, oh wow, pick up where DV4 left off and do this whole thing, the whole cord cutting thing. And to me, it was interesting, but my execution of it just was, it it just didn't do it. And so I think you'll like what happens, and there is going to be a whole AI thing, and yeah, it's, and one thing I will say is I'm glad that I did establish James from the first movie coming back at the end of the fifth movie. So just know it's going in that direction, with there eventually being a battle royale of all the killers, hopefully in 6 or 7.
Oh, that's going to be a lovely thing. So I guess we'll start moving towards favorite scenes. And Dustin, you said you wanted to ask about the music at the end, so why not?
Yeah. Is there any way? I sent you a friend request. Is there any way you can send me like the music you used in the credits of this? Because I thought that it was really cool. I really liked that little track.
Let me look into that. I'm sure that I can. I'm in North Carolina right now for the next 2 weeks, but when I get home, and I think I accepted your friend request. If just send me a message and say, hey, how about that music, and we'll get you taken care of.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that now, actually.
Cool.
All right. Well,
actually, if you could wait till I'm kind of more, I just don't want it to get lost.
Okay. Well, I wanted to make sure I didn't forget. So
no. Why don't you do it now and then do it later too?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'll work.
Let's see. So I guess we'll start with. I'll get right back with you, Dustin, on it. But how about you, Dave? What was your favorite scene in the park?
Actually, I have 2. I think I've mentioned them already, but I'll mention them again. My first one is when it's you and Isaac at his house, and you guys are talking about the getting weapons and stuff like that, and that whole monologue there is just funny to me. And then, of course, when the random penguin shows up with your Jason of the Argonaut skeletons, I get a kick out of that scene. So,
what about you, Jake? What is your favorite scene from this film?
It's hard to beat random penguins. I mean, that's just, believe it or not, I'm pretty much going to agree with Dave on this. Like, I guess the appearance of the penguin, and then the discussion about the weapons, and Evan, your utter disbelief that he would even consider a hammer as a viable weapon. I just found that kind of amusing, because it's like, you can do some damage with a hammer. I mean, it's not the worst suggestion, but I did find that kind of fun.
How about you, Dustin? What's your favorite scene in this?
Well, I already said it was when the Ray Harryhausen skeletons pop up, in that final bizarre sequence where I just sat there being bepuzzled. So my opinion hasn't changed that much in the last 10 minutes. So, but that whole end sequence where it's just what is going on? Where we're going nuts with After Effects on the iPhone, So also, I had just seen I spent a lot of time on Twitter, and I had just seen a Drill tweet. I'm pretty sure you guys don't know who Drill is, but they make really good jokes. So if your grave doesn't say "Rest in Peace" on it, you are automatically drafted into the Skeleton War. Like and retweet. And I had just seen that, and I was like, this is very timely. It doesn't say rest in peace. Man, we lost him again. Stop lying on us.
Let's see here. Let me see. my favorite, of course, is that gun scene where the gun safety. There we go. Sorry, I was just trying to text with him to see what's going on. He said he's having some issues coming back on. So I'm waiting to see what he says about his favorite scene. Okay, so I can definitely. Okay. So yeah, he's given a couple of things to shout out for him at the end. But I'm waiting to see about his favorite scene. But yeah, I think that as far as my favorite in the park, it's that gun safety lecture. I don't know why. It just kind of cracked me up because you could tell these two are definitely not competent, and you could tell that this guy, even though he's kind of selling an illicit gun, he's not kind of comfortable. And then Evan's character saying is like, "So which direction do I put the bullets in the gun?"
Well,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So he says he said basically his favorite scene was when Isaac and him form a plan to get the gat. So
He likes
than
that whole gun scene too.
Yeah, apparently he does. And he's typing some more there. So let's see. Oh, all right. So, other than that, I guess we could go into some outros. Let me go ahead and do a couple of shout outs for him. And then I will hand this back over to you, Dave. Because we've got a whole new month of films that we've got to go through as well. But he had a couple. Of course, Amityville Backpack, I want to say it's finishing its funding run. If you haven't gotten a chance to check out that, I believe they may still be doing the Kickstarter for it, but definitely look for it through SRS. I know Mansplain's got to be coming out soon for his. There is a new, I know I'm going to be giving to this once I get my paycheck, a new crowdfunding that he's doing right now. SRS has kind of gotten him with a couple of these films, and it's one he's mentioned before for the front rooms. So if you get a chance to get into that, I know that he will deliver on some of the things that are put through. And of course, Death Toilet 5 coming out, which I'm going to guess Death Toilet 5 will probably be on his streaming site as well as on SRS for physical. Maximum Stroller Drive, which looks like also an interesting title for a film. And of course, Cared Killer, which is the most recent film that he's got that is actually out right now on the streaming site. And of course, soon, something that we both worked on. I had helped create a limited run of his animated features as a collection. There's a limited, I think, of 25 for sale. Put together with a lot of care, to the point of so much care that I am probably not going to be producing another one of those. So make sure that you keep an eye on SRS for one of those if you want to check them out, because it's got all three of the animated features, 1985, 1986, Cool Summer, and Insect. It also has a lot of cool extras on it, including the director's cut of 1985, 1986, which the animation is very rough, but the story and music are quite amazing, and still surprises me to this day that it draws me in as well as it does. All right, that's all that I have to say about that, and I'll hand that back to you, Dave.
All righty. Let's go into our outros, if we will. So, Dustin, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Well, I collect horror movie stuff here in Milwaukee. I have a YouTube channel for that, The Crypt of Horrors, which I've been neglecting due to chronic bad luck and health issues. So, hey, what a year, right? But I've got stuff ready to go for it. I just need to have a minute where I'm not dying to edit stuff. So, The Crypt of Horrors, go sub there, and hopefully incentivize me to do some work on it. So I also have a Instagram where I post somewhat more frequently from the horror collection. Also, the Crypt of Horrors. I'm on Letterboxd as Cryptaxis, where I have been up until I had to have emergency surgery a couple weeks ago. I had been doing pretty good on hitting at least one movie every day, but I'm slightly behind. I think I caught up today. But we're gonna get back to that now that we're feeling stronger. So that's Cryptaxis there. And I'm on Twitter as Cryptaxis because some idiot has Cryptaxis and won't let it go, even though they haven't tweeted since 2018. But I hang out on Twitter a lot, and you can talk to me there if you so wish. So I'm considering maybe starting a Patreon or something, so that I can kind of justify making more content. So, because it's been tough on my time and energy, but I do like making stuff, and hopefully we can get that going.
Alrighty. Heading over to you, Jake. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Well, I'm Kotobukijake. I am the co-host on the occasions that we post nowadays of SeptumSin versus the World. YouTube channel where we hit physical media from several different angles. And obviously, Brandon will have more to say on that. I keep very, very busy. I've got a full-time job that pays the bills, more or less. And then, meanwhile, I am the co-founder of RVA Homegrown Natives, a native plant nursery, and this storm that came through tonight was supposed to have a lot of hail, so needless to say, the last couple of days have been kind of hectic and worrisome. Can't wait to see the other side of the storm, but at least we'll get some water out of it, so that's a good thing. I try to keep pretty busy with movies, too. We have our yearly Versus Awards coming up. Roughly a week left to get some nominations in, so hopefully we'll get some from folks. But I've been in a last-minute rush to watch a whole bunch of movies and keep trying to get that done. And, of course, our esteemed co-host, Evan Jacobs, has a few contenders this year, so I've knocked one out. I have another one sitting in the pile to watch in the next couple days. So that'll be good times. I also do occasionally dip my toe into filmmaking at various levels. And one thing that's really fun is that there are at least 4 films that could be nominees this year that my name is on because of Kickstarter backing. I have managed to see 2 of them. I intend to watch another one this week. And the 4th one may be lost to me. I don't know. I'm still looking for it. But for those who haven't, there's a documentary called Tipping the Pain Scale about the opioid epidemic, which is widely available, and y'all should be able, if you should so choose, to find it. There's also a sci-fi comedy from Britain called From Here to There, 30-minute short film. You can buy it on Vimeo for $4.80. So, you can. It's there. It's kind of cheap, but I don't know if there's a free option for that. But anyway, so that's really fun and kind of cool to be able to have that going on. And yeah, that about do me for now. I will say, for my part, I'd extend my thanks to Mr. Jacobs for joining us tonight. That's it's kind of cool to have a little esteemed guest speaker of sorts. So,
Getting back to the basics of this channel.
indeed.
Alrighty. Heading over to you, Brandon. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Well, SeptumSin is SeptumSin versus the world. Of course, Jake, let you know about those things. Though we did do one video today. We did a preview of what's to come for our tabletop horror series as we recorded episode 4. Of course, it's all rough recording, and we're not it's not edited, but I will be taking that and editing it and turning it into episode 4. And once we get all 45 or 46 episodes recorded, I plan on then starting to release them in little bits and really starting to work on this channel again, other than just sporadic updates, because between that, I'm also trying to make my own film, Amityville Webcam, which, thanks to one of the actors on it, now has its own IMDb page. So I have a film on IMDb in production.
Cool.
So that's a thing, and of course, Jake and I have been filming, and I've done some filming with Kyle and Dave and a few others, and I've still got to get some people together to do more. A matter of fact, Evan Jacobs is in the movie, so that's going to be fun as well. So I'm going to have some fun appearances from him, or Cody Tudor from the Paranoia tapes. So it's going to be a fun time. I think it's going to be great once I get it all together. I mean, we do have the climactic end battle already filmed, where Jake actually duels the webcam with the sword.
And we also have a great cameo from his cat, Mr. Anderson, decided to join the cast on the spur of the moment, which I think you posted that little scene for
Yes.
as a teaser.
There is a teaser scene from the movie on my channel if you want to see. But it's going to be great.
And speaking of climaxes, I can't believe I forgot to mention the anime anticlimax episode tomorrow from Marty High School.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also a birthday pick from me.
Cool.
So it's going to be fun. Do you want to wait till the end for doing the movies for next month, Dave?
Sure. We can wait till the end, and I'll switch it over to you, and then I can end it after I do my spiel. So my name is David Streggy. I'm one of the founding fathers of Inside Movies Galore. So thank you for coming along with us on this fantabulous journey that we've been having. And I wanted to say it was a pleasure having Evan Jacobs back on the show. He is a cool person, and I think that he has some talent still left in the wings. So looking forward to checking out more of his future filmery, and glad we could have some of his partake and some of the thoughts that he had in the process behind this film. So kudos for that. But I also moonlight under a different channel called Delusions of Grandeur, where we also podcast on Sundays, which I believe this next week will be going on about the remake of Bewitched as a movie in movie form. So I'm not sure I remember watching it. So it'll be good times. So not a huge Will Ferrell fan. So we'll see. But in any case, I also do some video pickups and some video reviews on the channel. So check out some of those. And I also am in production of a film, at least the wraparound of an anthology, and some short films still left to finish or start to film in the wings. So hopefully I can get around to doing that and finishing the film and getting it out there to the public. It's going to be a blast. So I know we definitely have some new film discussions coming next month. Brandon, why don't you tell us a little bit about them?
Well, since our numbers have kind of dwindled down, we were able to basically have everybody going. Originally, it was just Jake and Tammy that were going to be picking movies to make up for their birthdays. But everybody gets a little turn in on July. But Tammy is going to start us off with Unbreakable for next week. Then Jake for Fanboys. Then I'm going to totally turn everything on its head with Cromartie High, the movie.
Yeah.
And Dave is going to enchant us with The Witching and Bitching. And then finally, Dustin is going to bring us Megan. So,
Okay.
So plus, I've been meaning to see Unbreakable for a really, really a long time and just hadn't gotten to it. So I'm kind of hyped to hear that.
Good deal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically the start of M. Night Shyamalan's Marvel universe, or his own version.
The one he put on the back burner for a long time.
Right. He was extremely split about it, wasn't he? Anyways.
Indeed.
But definitely looking forward to this month. Definitely some interesting choices. I'm glad I'm able to put one of my one of the ones that I know in subtitles that I know y'all, some of y'all are fans of, and some of y'all aren't. So,
we get to do 2 subtitles this month.
What was yours called? Dan? That one didn't sound familiar.
mine,
The Witching and Bitching.
Bewitching and Bitching.
Yeah. You there,
It's
Dave?
by the same as the last Circus. It's by the same director of the Last Circus.
Okay.
So,
Well, it certainly looks entertaining.
it's a
if
very
anything.
weird film.
Okay.
But
Alex
I enjoy
Eagles.
it.
I imagine it would be.
Yep.
I don't know. I know some people that in the Carney circuit were talking about it, and or at least the director. And I first got into like the Last Circus, so but this one was different. So that's all I'll say about it.
Well, it's all going to be fun.
Indeed. So I believe it's ending for the curfew of being in the park. So everyone say good night. I don't think we want any security guards kicking us out.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.